Hey guys, Dee Dee here. How are we all doing? I hope you're doing well. So I am back with another plant care guide video and it's going to be on the Phoetonias. And the reason I'm making this video is because when I was trying to research how to take care of these guys, I couldn't find very many videos on how to take care of these guys. I think there was like 2. And so I was like, wow, that's not very helpful. And so I thought that I would share what I've learned in the couple of months that I've had these, and hopefully it helps you guys if you have Phoetonias yourself. So I have 2 guys, two Phoetonias. These are the 2 that I have. You might have seen it in my recent plant haul. And people often say that these are like really, this is like really wobbly. I want to just like cut it off and maybe propagate it. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself, I digress. But people say these are really difficult and like really finicky plants, but in my experience of having them the past couple of months, I really don't find them that difficult. Actually, I find them pretty easy to take care of, if I'm honest. But yeah, let's get into it. These guys are actually pretty adaptable. So you can have these in a low light situation or a highlight situation. It really depends on what you want to do with them. So these are really, like I said, adaptable. You can put these in terrariums. They do really well in terrariums. I don't have it in a terrarium. I just have them out kind of like this. I know we're in a different like background, but if you remember my other videos, I just have them kind of there in a south facing window. So they're about 2 meters back, so they don't actually ever get any direct sunlight, but they are in a bright indirect sunlight situation. And they seem to be alright with that. But like I said, if you don't have that kind of light, I think they'll do well in all kind of compass facing windows. So by that I mean your north, east, west facing windows. Wherever you really want to put it, I think they'll do fine. And yeah, that's all there really is to lighting. They like well draining soil that's rich in organic matter. I'm not sure what kind of soil this is. Like, this is still in its nursery pot. It's just in a cache pot and it's still in the soil that it came in. It looks like it's got some perlite in there for added aeration, because these guys do not like to be sitting in water because they are actually prone to root rot. So you want to make sure that whatever soil you are using is well draining, so those roots aren't just like sitting in, water. As for their watering requirement, when I actually brought them home, I didn't have to water them for ages. Like literally they were really, really wet, and I was kind of surprised because I was like, oh my god, aren't these guys gonna get root rot and die? But they were wet for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and I didn't have to water them at all. Now, I don't know why, maybe because I have the heating on now because it's getting a bit colder. These guys require water about every 4 days-ish. I use filtered water, room temperature water. Make sure that it is room temperature because cold water may shock the roots and then it will not be happy and die. And we don't want that. But again, it really depends on what environment you have these guys in. If they're in a terrarium, obviously you don't have to water them because then it's like self-watering because they transpire. It will, stick to the glass and then it will drop back down and then it's like, a whole cycle. But if you're just keeping them out like this, just pretty much check on them. Try not to let them just like wilt because you don't want these guys to ever really dry out. So I wait until the soil's kind of, I don't even know how you explain it. It's like really difficult. It's like damp, but it's not, it's like, it's dry, but it's damp. So maybe like 80% dry. And then I'll give them a nice good drink. I bottom water all of my plants, so I just let them sit in the water and drink up whatever they want. And then let them get on with it. As I was saying, you don't want to let them wilt and then keep watering them, water them and they come back up, because the wilting process stresses out the plant, and if it happens too often then the plant will eventually just die. So do keep an eye on these guys, and yeah, that's pretty much it for watering. Now, everyone knows Phoetonias love high humidity, so these guys actually are, I think, native to rainforests or like forests. I can't remember which one, but it's like subtropical. So just imagine rainforest vibes. They're like coverage on the floor. So if you think of that, that is very high humidity. That's why these guys do really well in a terrarium, because, you know, again, it's its own little kind of environment that it creates. However, you know, I don't have mine in a terrarium. I don't even have mine in a high humidity situation. I have them in a kind of medium humidity situation. I have like a really tiny humidifier, like it's like that big, that sits like on the shelf below, and it's like 30 milliliters worth, I think, of water that I put in and just like turn it on however many, you know, when I walk by it and I see it, I'm like, oh, okay, it's stopped, fill it up, and then like the humidity, you know, rises up. Other than that, I mist these guys every single day. So you know, every morning I wake up and I'm like, my plant care routine, and I just mist these guys. If I remember, maybe twice a day. At the moment, not so much because, you know, we're going into autumn, but in the summer, I will mist these guys maybe twice, 3 times a day. It really depends on how hot it is. But yeah, you don't have to be like, oh my God, I can't get one because they won't do well because I don't have the humidity. I don't have the humidity downstairs. In here it's a lot more humid, so this is where I keep all my humid loving plants, because I have a bigger humidifier in here, but I don't want these guys in here. I want these guys downstairs. So yeah, it's not that big of a deal as long as you don't have low humidity, because then obviously they will struggle. If you do have low humidity, again, you can do the humidity tricks of having like a pebble tray underneath it or something. I've never actually tried that method, so I don't know how well it works. I just, you know, the misting, which again is a whole big controversy if it works or not. I personally think it works because these guys are still alive, you know, after a couple of months, so I don't know. Yeah. They do like warm temperatures. Again, I've said this, I think, in my last plant care guide video, that if you're comfortable, your plants will be comfortable. However, these guys do not like drafts or being near like a cold window, because that cold temperature or that like breeze can actually shock them, and if they go into shock, it could kill them. So try and keep it somewhere, definitely not near a radiator or an open window or like a doorway that you always go through. Place them somewhere, you know, where they can just chill out and relax. Which sounds a bit weird, like, oh, where your plants can relax, but yeah, that's really it on temperature. I haven't actually fertilised these guys since I've had them. We are heading into like late autumn, early winter, so you shouldn't actually fertilise these guys in the winter when they're not, you know, not actively growing. If you are seeing growth, then obviously, you know, give them a little bit of, you know, maybe like a drop of houseplant fertilizer in with the water that you're watering them with. In the active growing season, perhaps every 6 weeks, give them a nice good fertilize. I have a houseplant spray mist that I use, you know, like maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, and I just spray the foliage and a little bit in the soil, and they seem to do really well with that. It seems to have helped them stay strong and put out all of this like bushy growth, because like this one especially is getting like bushy. Always err on the side of caution when you're fertilizing your plants, because over fertilization is, you know, a plant killer. So yeah. These guys, I don't know if you can tell, but they have like little fuzzies on their stem. So I don't know if maybe this one, no, I don't think you'll be able to see it any better on this, but like I'm trying to get like up in there, probably can't see it, but they have like these little fuzzies on their stems, and if you just like cut it off, put it in soil, they will grow very quickly. They will develop roots very quickly. I think you can water propagate these as well, but I think the soil method is probably the quickest method if you do want to propagate these guys. I haven't tried it yet. I might, like I said, because this one's kind of, you know, like it's being odd here, so I might just cut this off, put it in a little pot and see if I can grow another one. And yeah, that's really it. If you want to promote bushier growth, then it's really simple. You just kind of like pinch and, you know, just pinch them off, and it will encourage bushier growth. I think I did that here and here, which is why they're growing kind of out and strange. This one as well, I've tried to kind of make it a bit bushier, but I don't know, when I look at it in the camera, it doesn't look as sparse as when I'm looking at it in real life. It's really strange. But I kind of want to like fill in these gaps. So again, I might just kind of, if you can see, I might just kind of cut it here and then plop that in the soil and see if it takes root, or put it in its own little pot until it gets roots and then repot it back into here. But these guys are really easily propagated, so definitely give it a try. As for pests, I haven't experienced any pests. These guys are prone, well, they're not prone, but they can get scale, aphids, spider mites, mealybugs. They are vulnerable to aphids, so maybe in the summertime just be aware of that and just keep an eye on them, because I had that on my mint this summer and they were so annoying to get rid of. I was just like, why? I don't even know how they got in there, and then suddenly there was like a billion of them and I had to, that plant's no longer with me. So yeah, just keep an eye on these guys as you do with all your houseplants. Just keep checking them every, you know, couple of days to see if there are any bugs or anything, and then treat them appropriately. And lastly, these guys are non-toxic. They're safe for us and they're safe for your pets. If they happen to nibble on it or anything, they'll be fine. It's not toxic. So yeah, that is it for my Fittonia plant care guide. I don't know why that's so hard to say. I feel like it's really hard to say. I had to like think really hard how to say that. I hope this helped you, and if you have any questions or if there's any other information that I've left out, put it in the comments down below. If you guys have these guys, which I'm sure a lot of you do, and you have any other tips for me and how to take care of them, I would love to hear them, and I will catch you guys soon with another one. Bye!